A new accuser. Here we go. Put it up for mass. A new accuser claims that Diddy did, in fact, sexually assault him when he was a minor. These are horrific details. All right. Horrific details in the case against Sean Diddy Combs. They have come forward. Attorneys are continuing to try to figure out how to defend it. So his attorneys claim he never sexually assaulted anyone. Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old in 1998 now. Combs has been accused of violating a teenage child and sexual assault in 6 new lawsuits filed against him. The lawsuits filed Monday in Manhattan federal court are part of a larger wave of complaints that Combs is expected to face. Texas-based attorney Tony Buzbee said in September that his firm is representing 120 accusers who he says will bring lawsuits against Combs. More details are coming. In a new company has not been named in the lawsuits against Diddy. Macy's covered up a violent 2008 sexual assault by Sean Diddy Combs at its flagship Herald Square. This is the Manhattan store. This is the project store, multi-million-dollar deal with Combs. That's his clothing brand, Sean John, the new lawsuit alleges. The worldwide department store chain was named as a defendant in one of at least 6 now federal lawsuits, all alleging sexual assaults filed against the entrepreneur in Manhattan on Monday. The 19-page lawsuit is one of 2 filed Monday that names an outside company as a defendant beyond the companies owned by Combs. It was filed on behalf of a John Doe who now lives in Ohio. The plaintiff alleges that he was orally violated by Combs while working in the stockroom of the flagship store. On the day of the attack, Combs entered into the stockroom with 3 armed bodyguards. 1 or more of the guards struck him. He may have been pistol whipped, he alleges, causing him to fall to his hands and knees. This is according to the allegation. The plaintiff says in the lawsuit that 1 or more of the bodyguards threatened to then kill him. The plaintiff said Combs demanded he perform oral sex on him, calling him by the name of the company he worked for, Echo, end quote. A trial date has finally been set for the sex trafficking case. Diddy will stand trial on May 5th, 2025, according to the direct date motion. He will be held without bail until then, according to the last ruling on bond. Thursday, Judge Aaron Sabramian set the date for Combs' federal trial on charges of sex trafficking and more. Per USA Today, in court documents filed late Wednesday, federal prosecutors gave a larger list of discovery items they plan to dissect, including various electronics, hard drives, evidence seized from Combs' mansions, and business records across financial institutions, hotels, and phone companies. So what is he charged with? All right, Combs, 54, has pleaded not guilty for racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges, alleging he coerced and abused women for years with help from a network of associates and employees while silencing victims via email and violence, kidnapping, arson, and physical beatings. Now, Sean Diddy Combs, according to the unnamed victim, Sean Diddy Combs doused a woman with a lubricant that was mixed with a date-violating drug, and then viciously assaulted her alongside his bodyguard and a third friend. the accuser's attorney claimed. The unnamed victim was allegedly forced to remove her clothes when Combs threatened her with a knife. Lawyer Ariel Mitchell Kidd said on News Nation's Banfield this week. We have video of the woman's attorney that explains a little more. Here it is.
But she said over the course of this, her body got more and more limp, and she couldn't figure out essentially what was causing it, because it wasn't as if she was forced any drugs. She said she had a cup of water that she took a sip of, and she knew immediately it wasn't just water, but she only took a sip. And she felt that whatever the liquid was being squirted on her had something in it, which essentially debilitated her and her faculties.
All right. There's more. So it seems that there was some kind of drugs mixed into the oil, which is why he was dousing her in that oil prior, not only to make it easier to assault her, but that was what was lowering her defenses. That victim, who was also named, filed a police report at that time after the incident. Mitchell Kidd said last week, 3 years ago, what a run. 3 years ago, writer and sociologist Tracy McMillan Cottom profiled Diddy for a magazine profile. During the interview, he applauded the hashtag #MeToo movement. She says his rebranding as Love, Love, some say brother love, was a psychopathic move. Quote, I remember saying to my mom, they sounded like a child. She tells the Independent of the paper she was profiling for Vanity Fair September 2021 issue. Combs was in the middle of the Love rebranding, prompting an initial eye roll from the writer. She writes in the piece and invited her into his Malibu property for a sit down, during which he repeatedly referred to himself in the third person as he boasted about his own handsomeness, she says. He kept talking about, I'm an attractive young man, Cottom says of Combs, who was then 51 and several years older than the writer herself. Quote, the way he would describe himself, first of all, was young, which I thought was bizarre. It was telling that he has created a character version of himself that is powerful and sexy and physically attractive, when really what he is rich. In the May 2021, he pushed the name change with an Instagram post showing off a photo of his driver's license. Sean Love Combs written under his picture. And the caption, look what I just got in the mail today. It's official. Welcome to the Love era. All right. As I said, when this first happened, you will have more allegations, more lawsuits, and likely more individuals added to the criminal docket for charges as this moves forward. And that's exactly what's happening. Sharon, thoughts here?
Well, Dr. Richey, you know, as I say frequently, and perhaps even moments ago, my policy is not to judge people who are felons convicted, because I happen to know that this country is pretty sleazy in the Justice Department and the way justice is metered out. In Diddy's case, though, and I won't refer to him as Love, and I remember the post. I remember it. I saw it. I am going to judge him. I saw what I needed to see with Cassie, and I believe there's a good number of accusers who are absolutely telling the truth. And those who aren't, who are just doing a shakedown, I'm okay with that too.
You know, it's interesting because I understand your point. And someone tried to make the argument about, well, this one doesn't sound as credible as this. I say, you know, this is what happens when you live a particular life. You create the bandwagon for a couple of folk to jump on. But the bandwagon was created by Diddy, period.